What is going on, everybody? Hope you're doing well. This is Micah with Tone Nerds. Very excited to be bringing you our latest episode of the show today. We had the chance to catch up with Joshua Shelton. You may also know him as JoshOptical on TikTok and Instagram. Really great follow, a lot of really helpful, insightful content. If you're a guitar player, if you're a songwriter. So get on over there and follow him first of all. But for the show today, very excited to have a conversation with him about all those things and more. He's hilarious, very wise, and he's just a lot of fun. Now, I will preface it by saying we did have some audio-video issues. We did our best to clean those up for you, but despite that, I think you're going to want to hang in there because today's show was really great. Josh was such a great guest, and you're not going to want to miss this. So without any further ado, here's our latest episode of Tone Nerds. Good deal.
I'll take it.
Yeah, man. So first off, really excited to be hanging out. Been following you on TikTok since we pretty much started on TikTok. And I just want to say, we started our channel, posted some content, and you came on and followed us, and you just had some really encouraging words. And that was just really awesome. So I really appreciate that. You're just one of the good guys, the good people on TikTok, man. Super encouraging, and just thank you for that. First of all.
You're welcome. Thank you for noticing. I'm glad it was impactful in some small way. I want to follow and be a supporter.
Yeah.
A means I'm not just following something that's entertaining, but I actually want to support it. B means I want to take a little bit of time. So it's like a higher bar, and it sounds elitist, but I don't mean it that way. It's like if I'm going to follow you, I want to be able to actually support you. But also means that I'm going to take a little time, especially when I knew that you guys were brand new, at least the TikTok in particular. And I was like, you got to hear it from somebody, because if I jumped on in 2024, and it would be easy to feel like I missed the boat, or like, oh, fuck, I'll give her something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, when I see people doing good work, I try it, if I can. I'd like to.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Make a long story out of a short story. So
No, yeah. Well, I think that's worth saying, because until you actually kind of start getting into the content creation game, you don't realize how important those, as something as simple as someone hitting the like button is to pushing your video forward, or somebody dropping a comment. So finding other people that you like, and then taking that extra step to hit the
totally.
Follow button,
paying it forward,
or the like button, or dropping a comment. That's a lot. But yeah. So kind of our story, we'd love to hear your story as well. We were just two guys who, played together at church and stuff, and we sit around talking about gear and nerding out about this stuff. And it's like, what if we just put a camera up and just see what happens?
Selfishly, I was like, Ruben is a great storyteller. He tells like the most entertaining, hilarious stories. Like, my thing is we just need to get a camera on Ruben and tell some of these stories, and we're going to be fine. That'll be great. Everything will be awesome. We could talk about whatever, but as long as Ruben's telling stories, we're in good shape.
Take it. And Micah's one of the most likable dudes. So it was like, between the two of us, we said, who knows?
That's a really good thing. The thing that so many musicians don't understand about content in particular is that it's not music. Now, you might be making music content, but in the same way that an album is not just being in the room for a live performance. It is that's how it started, and some records are kind of like that. Some are intentionally like that, but still riding down the road listening to Fleetwood Mac live is not being at a concert. It's the same fucking thing. So people get really judgmental towards themselves about well, I guess I'm just not good. I guess I thought my music was okay, and then they get real butthurt about it and stuff. And my buddy let me help you. And I make this video periodically when I get on it, where I'm just like, you're not, even if you're promoting your song, you have to promote this video. That's what you're actually promoting. Everything is a gateway to a gateway to a gateway, and eventually you hope that, buy your record or whatever. But you can have the world's most amazing song, but if it starts with a nice long guitar intro, expect everybody to act differently towards us because we're artists than we act ourselves.
Right. That's exactly right.
That's true.
That's some of the best advice we've ever gotten, and it's from my wife. Because she's in digital marketing. And she's like, nobody cares about you.
Right. Because I don't know you. You're just another face on my screen.
That's true. Yeah. We think, we pour ourselves into what we do. You pour yourself into what you do, but nobody on the other side of the camera knows that or cares.
Yeah.
It's like, how is this impacting me and helping me,
Yeah.
It is insane to expect them to.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is insane and hypocritical. I'm not saying this to beat people up. It's like, we just need, people need to hear that. Anytime I explain this to a friend, in real time, I'm like, oh, right. Like, you can't go and be like, I care so much about this. When people, I've got 5,000 followers, but only 800 people are seeing each one of my videos. I'm like, do you know how many people follow? I mean, follow 5,000, 10, 50,000 accounts. People really.
Yeah.
But even if it's only 1,000, and most of us follow more than 1,000 accounts if you've been on a platform for a while.
Yeah.
Even if it's only 1,000, do you know how many lab humans you would have to have just scrolling TikTok all day to watch every
video?
Totally.
Person it's a math problem, and people just aren't seeing that part.
Yeah, totally. Because you got like 1 second before someone, if someone decides they're just gonna swipe to the next video. It's a constant slot machine. It's like it pops up. If I don't like it, I hit the slot machine again and just go to the next one.
Right. You've got to give them at least. You might not be able to give them the dopamine hit in the first second, but you have to at least give them the threat of the dopamine hit. You have to give them you have to at least trick their brain into being like, maybe
I might like this. Yeah.
They're the mice and you're the scientist. The mouse at least has to be like, might be cocaine in this one.
That's right. Right. There you go. That's right. All the tactics that go into the cold opens, the visual hooks, the audio hooks, you name it. But people have gotten so creative with how they capture people's attention. It's crazy how much of the science goes into this stuff.
Josh, how do you think about that when you're creating your content? Because one of the things I love about your content is it comes across as just very organic. Like you're just hanging out with your guitar. Hey, let me just start playing this, or hey, let's talk about that. And it's like I love you've crafted something there. I don't know if it's if it just happened that way or if you've been really intentional about that.
Thank you. It's both, but more it's the first one. It just happened that way over and over and over and over until you get the reps where it becomes a little intuitive.
Yeah.
So I'm not, if I know I've got songs, they have guitar intros. Those intros are not there for my health. It's important to somebody who's sitting down to listen to my song. For the last topic. Somebody who's scrolling TikTok did not sit down being like, I can't wait to discover this guy I don't know exists yet and listen to his long guitar intro.
Yeah.
So I know without even thinking about it, it still kind of hurts me a little bit. I just, let me sing. Start singing.
Yeah.
Or whatever, because you're trying to get people into the story of the song. The other part of it is I'm very unplanned in general. I'm learning. I don't have a diagnosis yet, but I absolutely certainly have ADHD in addition to a ton of other letters after my name. Purpose of making plans for me is not to do the things that I plan. It's to mitigate my anxiety. And I'm talking about all this stuff because I can't help it. It's the same with my content. I'm a whole person, and I also have issues that I'm passionate about. I'm not coming on your podcast, your guitar podcast, to grandstand about them. But
but I think it's important. Yeah, because I was gonna say, when you bring content to people, we were talking about it even just today. It's you kind of are bringing yourself to people kind of have to get behind the person too. A lot of times before they hit that follow button, So
it was also an answer to your question, which is for me, in the beginning, if you want to see some painful shit, you can go back to late 2019 and early 2020 and see my videos. And you can see how much it's so much what you see when somebody is new, especially on TikTok, because it's I think this is what we do. And this kind of face, Yeah. I'm teaching children to play guitar, doing, and seeing guys stuff that works for girl guitar players or whatever, and all this, and having to thank God I'm not a woman guitar player, so I don't constantly have to look friendly and beautiful at the
they have it tough, yeah.
You do, in the beginning you think there's all these things you have to do, and then on the other side, the truth is be yourself to a degree, but it's be yourself in context.
Yeah.
Right.
Musicians, they hear be yourself as, okay, since I don't want to be performative about this, so I'm just going to play the song with no video presentation element to it. Now we're back to nobody's going to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're on a video platform to watch videos. So it was doing, I mean, I've posted, I say it famously now, I posted thousands of videos because once I realized that was true, and that's insane, why wouldn't I say it all the time? Literally more than 2,000, that's thousands.
Yeah.
More than 2,000 TikToks, so it's just the reps of it being natural, but kind of naturally also learning what makes more sense and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think like some of our content's terrible too still. The stuff we make. I mean, but I think starting out, especially, like, that's part of the process. You're not going to nobody's a natural at this in the sense that the content's great coming out of the box. That's how you learn. It's like when you put a camera in your face and start doing the thing, it's like, it's very hard to act natural,
Yeah. So you're talking
because it's a very unnatural thing.
Talking to a little rectangle with your picture on it,
Yeah.
Like,
so that's part of the process. Yeah, you make some stuff that isn't really you, but you're trying to figure out how to be you, like in context, like you were talking about. So
it's the same with songwriting. I don't know if either of you like write songs in particular, but it's like, be yourself. But if you just pick up the guitar and go, today I made coffee, like something, I can get away with that, but I can't. Like, nobody feel like they're lying when they write. The fact is, the song has a format or any version of 1,000 formats, but it has to work for that container, which is a song. Yeah. People don't feel like they're lying. So I'm not lying when I get on TikTok and I present a certain aspect of my personality that's not how I am in real life, any more than I'm lying when I go to work and I'm like, hey, happy to help you adjust your glasses. Come on over. Right? I don't do that with my friends because I'm not at fucking work with my friends.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the intention and everything behind it is kind of what makes it authentic or not. It's okay if there's a performance. I saw a concert last night. It was Darrell Scott, national songwriter for the last 50 years. He was performing, but it was very authentic.
Yeah.
So they don't have to be this diametrically opposed thing.
Totally. Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, what got you into like the social media scene in the first place in terms of like as a content creator, not just a consumer?
Yeah, so I think it started like most songwriter guitar players, which was I've got to put who are old enough. I'm 39. Who are old enough that being a content creator, the way we think of it now, was not a thing.
Yeah.
So when I was 19, 20. When I was 20, when I first saw my first YouTube video, and it was John Patricia playing Glasgow Kiss.
Nice. There you go.
Fantastic.
Like anything YouTube, I was like,
yeah. Well, it's way better than the cat videos I saw.
Literally, the first YouTube video I've ever seen was John Patricia Glasgow Kiss live. I'm like, wow, I can just see John Patricia play guitar anytime. Yeah. And then 7 years after that, I started posting my songs on YouTube. You know how we do? We watch the same things, and they're not satisfying. It's like, well, we watched the new Anderson's video, and I'm always glad to see it, but it's like, you think it's changing your life, buddy, So I searched something, and I wound up on a YouTube channel about minimalism. And the guy's name is Josh something. He has one of the big channels if you're in that space. And Gary Vaynerchuk got on with Gary V, which is really funny because he's known as this like crazy high energy, entrepreneur, whatever. But he made a lot of sense in a minimalism context from there. And then I started listening to Gary V, and then it was just like blowing my mind about all kinds of futuristic stuff that wound up being true. And it was him, I was hearing him for years when it was still musically, like talking about, no, it just become TikTok being like, hey, if you want something to happen or grow, this is probably a good idea. Y'all still think it's good for 14-year-old girls, doing weird dances, but it's actually already not that way, and it's definitely not going to be that way.
Yeah.
I listened to him say that I was pretty quick on it, for maybe 2 months, and I was just like, okay, sure, whatever. And then I just started, and then the pandemic, even before the pandemic, I just decided to go really hard on it because I've seen some results from going really hard content-wise on Instagram, not a lot, but a lot more than when I wasn't, it was like the passive twice a week short video poster, you know.
I feel that, man. I think we kind of were in a similar boat. It's like, I'm pretty sure I think it was like in an article or something that was like about an 8-year-old who hit like $1 million on YouTube, like testing toys. You know, it's like, I'm like, I want to do what I enjoy, and like, who knows? Who knows? It's like you only see so many people. You're like, you know what? Let me throw my hat in the ring and let's just see what happens.
Well, and worse, and this was our conversation at the beginning. The worst case scenario, we have an excuse to get together and nerd out, talking about the things we love talking about and hanging out with each other. So it's like, it's a win-win.
So let me ask you this, like in your approach to your content creation, you mentioned, obviously you have like over 2,000 videos. Like consistency is a huge part of that. What do you do to be consistent?
You're going to sound like a pretentious wizard answer. Obsessing about consistency is what makes most people very inconsistent. Because that goes into a whole deal around content creation, which I think probably worked really well on Instagram in 2017. And I hate to tell us old guys, but that was 8 years ago. 17.
No, you didn't have to say it like that.
Right?
Yeah.
For all your other, late 30s, whatever, guys listening from the church or whatever, and they're just like, oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm not saying consistency isn't important, but this like fixation, literally people getting advice like, post X times a day at these times. Which again, maybe it was true, but we're acting like these platforms and these algorithms haven't changed in 8 years, or even just go back to 2020, which is 5 years, or even go back to 2023, which is 2 years. The algorithm, they change real fast.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this obsession with and that was also a game that was before, just the supply of people posting videos was so much lower. And so the ratio of people who posted to people who just consumed used to be, there was this huge gulf. That's why in 2019 on TikTok, you get those, it was like really fine.
Just saturate the market, yeah.
Bullshit. And it was just like, oh my God, I got 12,000 views and it's not even great. So now, users, so way up here, content creators is also high, but it's much more even. And so it's just not as easy to get seen. I kind of lost my train of thought even on what I'm consistency.
Yeah.
So people are still stuck in this real sort of academic well, I have to do it exactly at these times. As when did following that advice work for you?
Yeah.
Followed any of that kind of marketing advice and had it work on social media? I really no.
I would say
I wouldn't say it's not been like an intentional thing. Oh, we got to be consistent. It's just like, hey, I'm gonna just I feel like posting something, or we do an episode and we have some shorts to roll out.
Yeah.
And we have a plan to roll them out before we put out our full episode.
I think
kind of thing.
We didn't really hyper fixate on it. I think we wanted to keep things fun and kind of like you were saying, like the hyper fixation on consistency can sometimes make people inconsistent because then it's like it becomes a chore and not like the thing you set out to do, which was kind of maybe just enjoy yourself. So we've kind of kept it pretty chill. Yeah. We try and post consistently, but we don't really,
It helps that we have a mix of content too. We have, obviously what we do in the studio here. We got some organic stuff. We're just talking about whatever. We got memes and, reels or the, whatever you call them, the shorts, just the funny stuff, just trying to mix that in there.
Yeah.
It's just fun,
I've seen some people, or at least heard in interviews of other content creators of that can be kind of taxing mentally, thinking I got to get a video out today because it's the second Thursday of the month or whatever. And I promise a video every Thursday. It can really wear people down.
Right. And so when I'm talking about it, obviously consistency is not a problem. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's when it's packaged in that whole approach to content creation of thinking there's a best way to do it. Even if that were true today, it would be different tomorrow. Really quickly.
Yeah.
So I do put some pressure on myself. If I get to the end of the day and it's I'm 50-50. Am I going to post something or not? It's like, I'll push it a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the ball's just sitting on the fence, it's like, okay, just give it a little push, right?
Yeah.
And I try to get something out. And then when I'm on the weekends and I can have a chance to get into a whole mode, I might post 5 in a day.
Yeah.
And I'm not worried about, well, you should be saving those. I'm just like, I'm going to make 1,000 more videos. I don't care. You know, if I see something, if I post something I think has a lot of value and it underperforms, maybe I posted it at the wrong time, maybe it's at that moment, I'll repost it. Again, it's not like all of my followers, we think there's some follower police or like all of our followers are saying every piece of content, they're going to
no, you didn't post. Yeah, you didn't post like you said you would.
You already posted it. You're fake. You are terrible. Like yeah. You wore that shirt yesterday. You wore that shirt Thursday. They can't wear it again. You know, like good shirt. It's not dirty. It's fine.
Right, right. That's fair. But yeah, I mean, I feel like that's really good advice, especially for, you know, like people who are just getting into this. Because there are people, I think I saw one the other day that was like, dude on Instagram was like, if you want to grow, you got to post 3 times a day. And, you know, I feel like if you post 3 times a day, you just end up with 3 duds because it's like, if people aren't going to see it and, you know, anyway.
And I mean, the real thing is the video, right? And I don't really get to judge that, you know, for my own content. I have things that I think are really high value information wise, but maybe I lost them in that first second and a half.
Yeah.
Right. And there could be another video which is kind of dumb and not really value rich, not really information rich, but it just has something that's catching to the attention. It's with a lot of views, but not a lot of comments and not a lot of real engagement because the algorithm is just pushing it out to people because it's making people watch the video, which keeps people on the platform, which is the only purpose of the algorithm. That's the only reason it exists is what it is, right? So it might get a lot of views, but I didn't get any followers from it. I didn't give anybody something that made them care that like, wow, that was helpful. I want to see more of his videos. It was just an attention grabbing video in that moment. So, you know, do it when you're up for it. You know, if I'm 50, I'll speak for myself. I'll do it when I'm up for it. If it's 50-50, then I'll push a little bit. And, you know, I've had, this is just a fact, I've had some wins, you know, so to speak, not just in videos, but in terms of things coming out of the content. Yeah. You start to see, for the moments, it's kind of like being a musician in general, when you have the moments where I'm just like, what the hell am I doing this? Like, it's like my whole life, I'm way too fixated on it. You know, I spent all this money on it. I have all this gear that I should sell because I'm not really using it. It's like insanity, you know, and then you put the late nights and everything, but then you get a win, right? Yeah. The mouse gets the cocaine. You know, and you're like, oh, right. Yeah. Right. And so I've had that with content too, where it's like, I have a very loose, unofficial relationship with Stuart McDonald. That's unbelievable. I never thought that would happen. Yeah. Signature freaking pickups from Tom Brantley, who makes Geddy Lee's pickups. Yeah. So I'm going to say it every time. I'm always going to say the OptiBuckers. Not say. Yeah. I told him about that. He was just like, yeah, I mean, you have to.
Yeah, you got to put a plug in.
Man, absolutely.
Well,
crazy. So that's enough to keep me on the consistent train of like, hey, do you really want to? Not that it would be for nothing, but do you really want to stop here or you want to see? Yeah. Even if, like you're saying, nothing really happens, was it a waste of time? Like, you got to do something with you.
It was a fun ride, yeah.
The most satisfying thing for me has been just the community piece of it, because I'm a very, very much a people person, you know. So we got into this thing just to have some fun and whatever. We had big dreams. Oh, maybe we'll make a living doing this one day, and maybe we will, maybe we won't. But the most satisfying thing for me is just things like this, like sitting here talking to you. It's getting a chance to meet people like Charlie Fox and Pinstripe Pedals. It's working with the guys from Walrus. It's like all these other people. I mean, like there's a guy Nick down in Houston we're going to do some stuff with. Super cool guy. And it's like, you know, just getting a chance to meet all these different people that are kind of in the same world that I am, and we have so much in common. It's a community thing, and I think it's good for people's mental health to know that there's people out there on the other end of that camera that care about you and are interested in what you're doing. And like, I think to me, that's where your content has resonated with me, because you strike me as someone that brings your full self to to your community of followers. You know what I mean? Like whether it's the good days, the bad days, the ups, the downs. I feel like we get to see like the real Josh, you know, through all that. And that's really cool. You have a lot of really helpful content. I was just watching through your intonation video today, like how to set intonation, you know, and like really like super helpful, like and technical, like content, which is great. I love that part of it. But when I think of you and your channel, I don't really think of that. I think like this is a person who like you're an artist, man. I mean, like you feel like very deeply, you know, about things, and that comes across in your work on social media. So I love that part of your channel, and I think to me that is kind of underscores like what I enjoy the most out of this is like just the community piece and getting a chance to meet guys like you. So
yeah, that's cool. I kind of wanted to circle back to one thing you said, is like, you know, celebrating the wins and stuff like that. What for you on your social media journey has been some of the wins in terms of like, maybe just mentally, but also in the content creation of like finding your niche, what did well, but also like just the mental wins where you're like, this was cool. I'm glad I'm on this journey, you know?
Sure. That's awesome. 20,000 followers on TikTok in 2020 was a huge deal for me.
Huge accomplishment.
Because I can't just like, you always have to be careful with these things. You take it out, people take it out of context. Like, don't know me as a content creator can really come across the wrong way. But I'll put it this way. I'm not like showing my perfectly coiffed hair or six pack and getting 5,000 new followers like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like, and that's not that be butthurt. That's life. Attractiveness, privilege is a real thing. And I could be a lot uglier, right? So I'm grateful I'm not. Getting. I work.
Yeah, you're not thirst trapping folks.
I did that just did for my luck.
You'd be surprised, man. Hey, surprised, man. Everybody has their style.
Show a little leg,
too,
Josh.
So that's right.
I'm definitely a 39-year-old twice divorced dude with transitions glasses and hair and a Dio shirt and a Warlock is definitely somebody's fetish. So you're right about that.
Yeah. Dude, that's actually a great transition. Let's talk about, I want to hear about your gear, man. So like we're the tone nerds. We got to know about your gear. You got that beautiful Gibson acoustic in your hands. It looks to me like it's dying to tell a story.
Yeah. But yeah, go for it.
It'd be the whole podcast, so I won't do that. So this is in 1953. I got it when I was in high school. I had an English teacher named Dan Walter, who was a really excellent musician. And I was about to graduate, and I was about to turn 18. And he knew my parents because my parents are both school teachers, both music teachers, music and band. So I started playing with him, and that became a mentorship, musical mentorship relationship. Right, so he knew about this guitar, belonged to his buddy, Lynn Michael, and it belonged to, you asked for a story, you're getting a story.
Yeah, we're about it. We're about the stories, man.
It belonged to Lynn's ex-wife, Donna Michael, I think was her name, and they'd been divorced for years, had been sitting in a closet, and it was one of those where it was too nice to get rid of, but it was too painful for him to actively have in his life. And he finally decided that this guitar is too important to like just be sitting here, right? And so my teacher Dan Walter knew about it. He let my folks know, and then I got it. And turns out I had spent years in Nashville and I want to meet some more people. I need to get out there and like put some videos out on this story. I want to meet people and see, because it was a known instrument amongst a certain group of songwriters.
Yeah.
Much later, I learned that this guitar was found sticking. It was in a dumpster with the neck sticking out, broken headstock, and the frets that were on it, which is a whole other story. I'm saying this for a musician, but this thing sounds unbelievable. A guitar is the speakers.
Yeah.
We break in speakers. An acoustic guitar is the top, is the driver, right?
Yeah.
It literally is moving and pumping air out. So, especially for people that like bluegrass and real acoustic music, not just an acoustic guitar on track, acoustic music, and you want them to be loud and complex and all these things, that's the true religion of the bluegrass folks, because it's true.
Yeah, it adds life to it.
What the ceiling is on any given guitar is going to depend on the guitar, and you never know until you play it for years. But it was really true with this one and the new neck.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. So I love like a really nice lived in, road worn look of a guitar. How much of the road rash have you gotten to make on that? Because I mean, you said the guitar was from what, the 50s or something like that?
53. So
yeah. So how much of that have you feel like you've gotten to contribute to the look?
I wish, I don't feel proud about it. I feel a little bit of shame about it, but I think more than I remember. I need to see, I think my buddies there might be some photos of me with this guitar in college, which now is 20 years ago. And I think it's more than I thought, because I mean, wear is great, right? But this is not, when I got this, it was already an historical artifact.
Right.
Not historical, an historic artifact.
Would you consider, I mean, everybody plays both, but do you kind of internally consider yourself more an acoustic or an electric player?
Yes. I didn't even start playing electric a lot. I had one when I was 16 for Christmas. 15 or 16, I got a Gibson SG Special, which again was a big deal. My
nice.
Had bought it for a band that he was going to be in, and it turns out he thought he was a pretty good guitar player, and there were two other guitar players that were 10 times as good as him. So play the bass. Near Old Salem, there was a shop that's now Heyday Guitars. If any of my local folks watch this, you'll know Heyday. I can't remember what it was called, but a John Taylor shop, and it was real close walking distance. So that's where I started to get ill. I started to become sick with the guitar. I was like, oh, there are all these kinds of guitars.
It's a deep well, man. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, man.
That's fair.
I've gone off that train mostly.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised today.
Yeah, you don't strike me as like a gear nerd kind of thing. And I know it seems like just some of our interactions in the comments or something, it's like, that's not really your thing, and that's great. I mean, I'm in some ways I'm jealous of you that you've kind of scratched that itch, because of course if we did, we would have no content. Yeah. So that would be a problem.
Yeah.
But that's part of the thing about the podcast or the show. It is kind of enabling a little bit. And my wife has been sure to point that out.
No, honey, it's not a problem. I have a heroin podcast.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. There you go. Right.
Well, yeah, it's content.
When you say it like that, we're not far off.
It's okay. It's like, okay, all right.
Not far off.
I shouldn't make light. I feel the need to defend myself in advance a little bit, because I have a substance abuse problem from which I'm luckily sober. It is alcohol. That's why I'm bringing it up to you.
Yeah.
And I've had a friend, this got to get real dark real quick. I had a friend pass away as one of my coping mechanisms. So people think that I'm taking that kind of thing lightly. I'm not, but sometimes you have to laugh to keep her quiet.
Yeah.
Shit, you're funny.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I gotta tell this story. I told you, we're having Josh on the show. I gotta tell a story. So
yeah.
And this is it's kind of weird, but it's all true. Last night, going to bed, we're like, hey, we're going to do this show tomorrow with Josh. Gears are turning, trying to think through the logistics of it all and how to make all that work and what are we going to talk about and this and that. And we also earlier we did some content on dual overdrives. Mm-hmm. So we had Ruben got a new dual overdrive. We have a few other pedals. So that was on the brain last night was, okay, Josh is coming on the show and dual overdrives. Yeah, so I had very broken sleep last night. We had this huge storm move through, and I was just I had this dream. I don't know. Do you interpret dreams? Maybe seems like that could be one of your skills.
I love that you look at just Yeah,
I don't.
Oh, he definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know about this one, man.
So here's what happened. So we like Ruben and I were getting ready to play it at our church, which we always do. You know, he plays every week.
This is the dream, by the way.
Yeah, this is the dream.
Prefacing, this is Micah's dream, not reality.
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, like I find out, oh, great. Like I think I invited you or something. I was like, hey, I got this friend Josh. Like I didn't even ask. I just invited you. So it's like, hey, Josh is playing with us at church. This is going to be great. So we get there and like you already have your stuff set up and I'm all excited. This is going to be so much fun. And I open my pedal board case and there's no pedals on my pedal board. And I'm like kind of scrambling, and I open my backpack, and all of my pedals are in my backpack. So rehearsal starts, and I'm on my hands and knees trying to reassemble my pedal board while rehearsal's happening. Mm-hmm. And our worship leader is pissed at me because some more context. Like last week, I was an hour late to rehearsal because my alarm didn't go off or something happened. Mm-hmm. I'm never late, but so last week that was already in my brain. Like I was late to rehearsal.
Which now preference he wouldn't be pissed in real life. This is just also part of the. Yeah, this craziness of the dream. Would be like, man, I don't want to go to church today.
Yeah, that's not Jimmy at all. But anyway, so this is all happening, and I'm stressing out trying to put my pedal board together. I like one of my main pedal on my board, my Wampaloo Euphoria. I can't find it, and somehow the case fell off of it. So I'm like, anyway, like everything's going very badly for me. And then right in the middle of rehearsal, our worship pastor's like, "Hey, Mike, I need to talk to you." And you're like, I'm like. Looking up, like right now, we're going to talk now. Like I'm trying to get this done. So anyway, we go outside and he's like, tell me, you got to step it up. You know, you were late last week and now you come unprepared this week. And I'm having a really bad time. Anyway, come back in and I never get my pedal board together. I think at some point you had just left. Because this is a total train wreck. I'm not going to be a part of this. I look back at where you're at and you were gone.
Yeah, there you go.
So I don't know. Well, and the other detail, the dual overdrive piece. So I opened up my backpack to pull my all my pedals out that I need to reassemble my pedal board with. And all I had in my backpack, except for my one pedal I was missing a case, was all dual overdrives. That's all I had. So, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of connections with what we're doing today. But what does this mean for me, Josh?
Well, first off, you probably put a lot of pressure on yourself to be perfect, and
you're
asking.
Mm-hmm.
Probably use perfection as a form of self-protection in terms of how you show up for others, because you feel that you have some worth, that your worth is up for debate. And so to be perfect is, and this is not uncommon. A lot of people were raised churched. It shows up differently for men and for women, right? But depending on how you're enculturated and how that stuff goes on, because, talk about a heavy burden, the churchly woman's need for perfection, talk about things I don't envy about women, but it could be for men too. And then also for men outside of the church thing is like, if you're in any kind of provider role or anything like, right, that kind of stuff. It's like, so I'm not saying this is true.
Hey, you might be interpreting dreams right now, Josh. You might be onto something.
I'm saying, you ask me what is my interpretation of this dream, whoever had it, because I don't know you any better than whatever we've learned today. Anyway, so I hear that someone who has used preparedness and something along the lines of you might be thinking, well, I'm not really perfectionist, so let's zoom out on that. Like preparedness and helpfulness and reliability. So the self-worth is wrapped up in that. And so you have this situation that exposes how potentially not worthful.
Yeah. Hey man, he might.
You weren't prepared. You obviously don't actually care about this. I'm not sure that that your priorities are in the right place. So I hear about that kind of thing. Now the dual overdrive.
I was just about to say. Yeah, right. Yeah.
How are we going to make this work?
All of my wet effects are gone.
Another version of this dream where the Spinal Tap version where you're like, this is heaven. Dual overdrive.
Right.
All in theory.
Oh, that's right.
Awesome.
The ultimate drive stack.
Your nightmare is my is my dream.
What's that?
Ruben, you're the overdrive guy.
Yeah, I do like a gain.
Yeah, he has, I think, 5 or 6 on his board right now.
Yeah.
Right. And Micah, you're more the space and ambience and
I could, yes, because I'm less skilled than Ruben, so I just
whatever.
I try to fit in the space where I can fit in without having to do too
equally as skilled. I sit there and I go, dang, I wish I could sound more like Micah, and then Micah sits like, dang, I wish I could sound more like Ruben. Yeah.
Micah right now is telling the truth about one thing and also being modest, which is fair because I can do more of that textural stuff too. You're saying Mike is probably more skilled in like guitar player, like in a more classical sense of doing stuff. And
your
proclivities were probably more like that wasn't really your bag, and so you got better at just making this beautiful, more of it, the Edge versus Slash.
Yeah, totally.
Well, it's funny you say that because like Slash is one of my favorite players and the Edge is one of his favorite players.
Oh my gosh, you're interpreting dreams.
Get out of our head, Josh.
Get out of our head.
Your feedback. What's your feedback on the dream thing?
Who, me? I don't know. I mean, I think you're onto something with a preparedness thing, because that's like, I do pride myself, like I'm on time. I always practice my parts. Like our MD is always like, I can always count on Micah to be ready and practice his parts. And I have had a similar dream to this before. I don't think I ever told you about this one. Like I show up for church, same thing. I'm showing up for rehearsal, but like Jimmy asked me to lead the service. And I'm completely unqualified to do that. I wasn't prepared.
See, back to preparedness.
That's it. I think that's the thing. So I think you're onto something with the preparedness thing.
My dream, like a lot of people have that dream of like, they show up to school in their underwear or whatever. Like, that's like
my version of that.
Yeah. It's like, that's what mine is like. I show up to a gig and I open my case and my guitar is not there. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll go home now. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking of it was like, it's a version of that for the test. Mine is, your church friends might not love this part. I'm there like damn Daffy Duck. There's nothing on the bottom.
Hey, there you go.
I'm gonna circle back because we can do this all day.
Yeah.
Like high moments. Danish people followed me on TikTok and they follow me on Instagram, and now we sometimes I'll send him something and he responds, not just like the content creators like haha or whatever. Like we actually talk. Like that's amazing.
Heck yeah.
Stuff like that, having the Tom Brentley Rewinds pickups is awesome. The Stu Mac relationship is awesome. I did one video for Fender, and they used it when Player 2 came out last summer.
Oh, nice.
So I quickly, this is nothing against Fender. It's just the nature of person, the kind of business that I like to be a part of. Fender's just way too big. So of course, I'm dealing with an affiliate company, and they're sending it to them. It's just a lottery. Send it to however many people, and they hope that I feel so special because they send me an $800 guitar, which I really appreciate. Don't get me wrong, right? But like that's their game. Is they have whole companies that's just to send people stuff and hope that for what is not nothing but a pretty small cost to them, that stuff goes viral, or the right, really great content creator guy or the right really cute girl posts the rap video that gets however many views.
Yeah.
And not to mention, it was cool that they offered 10% on everything that was sold, all the gear through the Fender website, which that's awesome.
Heck yeah.
If I and I have a little following. I'm up to 84,000.
Wow.
And that's amazing and very substantial. And I know enough of the landscape to know it's still very small fish, right? In terms of the people that are making money and making livings on content. 84,000 people is like, that basically means like, hey, you've got to start and you might have something here.
Yeah.
Maybe. Right. So I don't have that kind of following, right? I routinely have, back to the video view thing, I routinely have videos that don't break 1,000 views, right? Which is fine, right? So in order to potentially make any amount of money, that would be even enough for a grocery run, I would have to become a full-time vendor show.
Yeah.
Right? Because just on the hope that they actually stop and click my bio, even if you do it in the most streamlined way possible, then they have to click my bio, then they have to click on a link, then they have to put it in their cart, then they have to actually buy it. How many people are going to actually do that for something? And in order to do making money would be awesome. I could use it, really good, but that's not my aim at this time, and it would ruin the relationship of why people like you to follow me in the first place.
Yeah.
Be like, this guy just hugs stuff for Fender. The company doesn't matter. Right? He's just a huckster, right? It's like it would ruin, and I have people who follow me for years, many of them I follow back, and those relationships, I might not know them well, but they matter to me.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm not dogging on people who choose to go more the monetized route. That's fine, you do you 100%, but what I'm up to is much bigger, and it's a long game, and it's a long road, and so those relationships are really, I hate to even say valuable to me, because that's like still putting it in this like business, kind of space.
Something to leverage, right?
I mean, that's all true. We got to be in the real world, but it's like, no, they're actual relationships to me, and it's important to me that they keep getting some version, today's version of whatever they call it before in the first place.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, I had one more question for you. If you could offer one piece of advice to someone's like, maybe I want to pick up the content creation thing, what would it be?
You don't overthink it. Post. You think your worst fear is that no one's going to watch it? Spoiler alert, if that's the case, your worst fear will probably come true.
Yeah.
But two things. Number one, that's actually should make it easier for you to post video, because what people are actually afraid of is that people will watch it. Feel exposed.
Yes. Yes.
Your worst fear should be that it goes viral. And then you get to learn what being a content creator really is, which is community management and deciding how you're going to respond when people are nasty, or if you're just going to block every one of them, or if you're going to just delete the comment, or if you're going to try and fight back, like still more frequently, less frequently than I used to, but more frequently than I should. That's a big part of it, so just, don't post anything that you would be, concerned in some way, like if people are talking about personal stuff, because a lot of people do, like, you can be careful about that, but as far as let's keep it just music, guitar. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? I could talk about this for a long time, but I mean, it's like, the worst thing that's going to happen probably is like nobody watches it. So what's that? How does that affect me emotionally? Let's say it does. Okay. So I'm putting my self-worth, I'm putting my pedal board emotionally into whether people watch my videos, and then we'll say get some views, but there's not that many likes, right? So it's all, this word guarantee is really true. There's a lot of things I disagree with about, but it's really correct about this, is that what this whole thing really quickly exposes, when you start posting, really quickly exposes some of your emotional hotspots, particularly insecurities. So if you're posting and there's no views, or there's no likes, or it's only your girlfriend and your mom and your church, your worship leader that's liking the post,
He wouldn't like any of our stuff. He wouldn't like any of our stuff.
If that's all making you feel sad and stuff, it can end up, it's a strange thing that could really approach a certain way. It can be a real personal development thing.
Yes.
Like, I have absolutely grown as a person tremendously from managing. There's 2,000 videos. Many of those have 10,000, 100,000, 400,000, 500,000. One has more than 1 million views. There's a lot of comments in there. On all of them. The only exception is I have had some go so viral comment-wise that it's like I
can't keep up, right?
But I would easily estimate that I have responded to 95% of the comments that I have had, and it's probably 99 plus, but I'll be conservative and say 95% of the comments that I've had. That's the other thing. Reply to the comments. Right? I'm not trying to dog on people that they're not doing that, but it's like everybody wants more followers, more engagement, all this stuff. You think you're the belle of the ball? You think they're just going to show up and keep talking to you, and you don't even have the time to say thanks or thanks or fire or whatever. Yeah. Like, respond, and that doubles your comments, which it all makes it grow. Yeah. So I can't just say one thing, Ruben. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. I think all of this is great. We kind of didn't know what we were doing going into this, so I think we're kind of learning as we go along. And I think everybody kind of is.
Totally.
But I know it's always beneficial for me to hear from people who are a few steps ahead, and all of that is super helpful. So we appreciate it.
And mix things up, people are, if you're stuck. I'm just kidding. I'm really lucky that, okay, I don't know how much longer you're trying to do this. I can talk about this.
No, go for it.
Going back to the whole 2017 Instagram best practices thing, this whole find your niche, so Instagram 2017, right? It's okay if you have one, but you're saying where you mix it up, because I refuse to just be, I can't, I play some bluegrass guitar. I'm not a bluegrass guitarist, but I do a lot of flat picking.
Yeah, Tony Rice. I saw Tony Rice cover you did.
Thank you. Good. Glad you saw that. I've been invited to play the Tony Rice guitar by his widow, Pam. We talked on the phone a couple weeks ago as well.
That's awesome.
So I need to pick her up on that. But I can't just do one thing. I like playing Craig Goldie from Dio 86, made me want a white warlock.
Yeah, man. That thing is sick. Yeah.
Really good one. And I have a Silver Sky, not because I'm a John Mayer fanboy, which I am, but I picked up that particular guitar, and it was I didn't want a Strat, I didn't want a Silver Sky, I tried them, I didn't like them before, but this particular guitar was just, and I play all the kind of music that I play on it, do weird chorus stuff, and Yvette Young, kind of never meant tuning, and I play 80s, melodic metal, and I do this, and I have my own songs, which I've been covering in more recently because people are asking, and the whole purpose in the beginning was to become known as a singer-songwriter, and I've totally left that out of the picture because I'm trying to make valuable stuff that people will actually watch.
Yeah.
And now it's lo and behold, I'm about to be on Western North Carolina Music Podcast here Tuesday night, and he didn't know that I was a songwriter. So anyway, because I do all the things, there's more options to cross-pollinate.
Yeah. Great. Yeah.
The old model made sense when algorithms weren't as big of a piece of the picture, and that social media worked like an email subscription. I follow you. That means I'm signed up.
Yeah.
I'm going to get all the things. Now it's interest-based. So it's going to be great that people who are interested in what I'm talking about or showing.
Yeah.
So I can make a video that's about my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle watches, and I can make a video that's about how I like rocks, and yes, my core following might be that's not why I'm here, but okay, it's one video out of 100.
Yeah.
And then also it's going to get me into new audience and all that stuff. So this all goes under the umbrella of the one answer, which is don't overthink it. Just get the least thing later,
Yeah.
Okay.
Just throw it at the wall, see what sticks,
Hey, quick side note: we've got to compare Ninja Turtle toy collections at some point, because I got a whole bucket full of them in my attic.
There you go.
That's the show right there. Yeah, I got myself a party wagon.
We'll just take the tone part out and just nerds. We'll just talk about. We'll sit there and talk about Star Wars and Ninja Turtles. And
here's your next content play is literally that, but you get masking tape and tape over it.
Yeah.
Literally, for the video, you get one hat, you take off your regular tone nerd's hat, you put on the tone nerd's hat that has a masking tape.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where you have permission. This is for the real fans who are like, we actually, back at the beginning, we like Ruben, we like Micah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like guitar is why we met, but we have all this other stuff, and they just like nerding out. It's like, and then you have total carte blanche. Okay, make it masking tape. But here, I've got mine right here.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's for your clip.
Yeah.
What do we want to talk about? Just give me a topic.
Ninja Turtle toys. Let's go.
All right, so I grab
toy nerds.
Toy nerds.
put it on a hat.
Yeah.
And today, we're TMNT
nerds.
That's
it. Yeah.
That's your sideshow. That's like your piano too.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, there you go
on the same chain. That's not a bad idea, man.
So there's a sports, like a local sports talk radio station, and they cover, like, we're in Dallas, so they cover the Cowboys, they cover the Mavs, whatever. But every once a week on like Thursday or something, they had a soccer minute. There's one guy on the show that likes soccer, so they gave him a soccer minute. They give him 1 minute a week to talk about soccer. So it could be like the just the nerd out minute or whatever. That's fun.
Here's your nerd out.
Might be the video, whichever video that brings somebody in that is a super fan and ends up sharing it to their guitar player buddies.
Yeah,
and call it excellent.
Yeah,
we'll have to do what's it called, like Josh from G.A.S, like our record of the day, but ours will be like an action figure. Anyway, you're giving us ideas.
Hey Josh, man, this has been so much fun. I know I don't want to keep you any longer than we have to. Know you've been gracious with your time with us today. Before we let you go, do you want to just play us a little song? You have something on your mind?
My goodness. The song I have on my mind I can't really play because I saw Darrell Scott last night, who people don't necessarily know him, but he's a songwriter that wrote Great Day to Be Alive, that Travis Tritt made a hit. He wrote Long Time Gone for the Chicks, like Dixie Chicks, Out in the Parking Lot, Brad Paisley, and You'll Never Leave Harlan Alone. Very known in Texas.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I have chills right now. Like his level of songwriting, singing, and guitar playing is all at the top. Tippy top. And he's an amazing piano player, which I didn't even know.
Very cool.
I got one of his songs on my mind that I can't, but I've got a platform, so let's do a nice song. All right, you mentioned Tony. So this I wrote soon after, it's all come together. Soon after, a couple days after Snuffy Smith died, no doubt the cartoon character. Snuffy Smith was a luthier who worked on Tony Rice's guitars. He was like his default guy when he was home, when he was not on the road. And to other people, and he's lived in my area. Snuffy passed away, and I only met him once at a Christmas parade, but I knew of him as, at that point, like deeply into the Tony Rice sphere musically. Still like a desert island musician. And I wrote this song. And at the time, Snuffy had done the most recent refret on this guitar when he was still living. Most of these frets are still Snuffy's. The first 5 now are not, because I've worn them out, but I've still got them. And Micah had shown Ruben this when you were away, but this is the neck from the Gibson.
Oh, got it. So you even have the old neck. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and the fretboard is here, saying that there was old Brazilian rosewood. So I wrote this, and then Pamela Hodges Rice, Tony's wife and widow, she shared it recently on her Facebook, which is really gracious and kind. And I have reason to think that Tony heard it before he passed, but he was extremely private, so he wasn't like private messaging people on Facebook.
Yeah.
But this is called Tony's Pride. You ever say? It's great. And it's going to be messy because I ain't warmed up.
Hey, that's all right, man.
You're good.
We're just going to do it anyway, right? It's the whole thing. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's dedicated to Tony. Check your life. hills of Arkansas, in the hills of Arkansas, Snuffy Smith was born. And there's nothing much to do for a boy in Arkansas, except to go to church several times a week and hang out on the farm. In those hills there, that string could make music if you knew how to use it. String would sing all day. The right would stretch from the bridge on down the deck. Said flat thick against the strings. Look out, the magic's coming on. Well, now the blues don't let after Tony's guitar. Or else could be qualified. And blues don't love all that sweat steals the life. Or else could be qualified. Look after Tony tonight. Sleepy Danville, Virginia, on to Bright, San Francisco. Mr. Wright picked a blister, pressed right off the neck. And when it came time to fix it, Tony always insisted it was on the one man for the five to set things right again. Well, now the blues don't live after Tony's guitar, or else to be qualified. On the love, all that's when it's light. Who else could be qualified? Look at the Tony's pride. You know, I sat down and cried on the day that Snuffy died. I can't tell you why. Barely even knew it, but he put the frets in his soul gifts. And with every note I pick, I hear the little of his hands. I'm willing to bet there's 1,000 worn out frets under the strings of guitar necks of pickers far and wide. They're all just like me, though they never won't see the final set of Snuffy's frets pulled above on else they're right. But who's gonna look after my no get? Who else can be qualified? And who's gonna love all this sweat stitch life? Who else could be qualified? Well, now, but who's gonna look after Tony's guitar? Who else could be qualified? Yeah, who's gonna love all that sweat stitch life? Who else could be qualified? Look after Tony's pride.
Hey, yes, sir.
Hey man, you earned your Texan card with that one, man. You be playing acoustic like that, man. Careful, you just might be a Texan.
He rode all the way to Texas.
Yeah, there it is. There you go.
Freight train, the girl that left the island. You ever heard Tony Rice's arrangement of that? Oh my God.
Oh,
yeah, I've not. My dad exposed me to a lot of Tony Rice when I was a kid, but I have not. I've not really picked him back up since I've been grown. So I need to revisit his
You guys
stuff.
just exposed me to Tony Rice
there
right
you
now.
go, man.
It's
Yeah,
a new one.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to go look that up.
Strong recommendation, because there's a lot out there and none of it's not good. There's not one thing
Perfect.
that's not worth listening to. But Church Street Blues is the album.
Okay.
Got it. Noted.
That's where you start.
Mhm.
You won't be disappointed. Last thing on the dream interpretation front, I wrote that song and had the line, "Who's gonna love all this wood and steel to life.
Yeah.
Years later, I found out Snuffy was in a bluegrass band, the name of which was Wood and Steel.
No,
Really?
my gosh, wow.
Wild. Wild. Dude, well, Josh, again, man, thank you. This has been fun. And we've got to do this again. We've got to make this a thing. Love it, man. So have a great day.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. Thank you for logging on with us.